Hello, hello everyone. This is Listening Lotus coming back to you with another reading. I hope everybody is doing well. They're taking good care of themselves, drinking your water, eating your fruit, most importantly, getting out and getting some sunlight. Um, you know, going for walks, clearing your mental space, definitely staying as grounded as you possibly can and getting some fresh air as much as possible in this interesting time in the world. So, we're just going to go ahead and just jump right in it and see what's going on with you guys. Again, I hope you guys are taking really good care of yourselves out there because all you got is you at the end of the day. Okay? All right. So let's see what's what. Let's see what's what. What messages? Okay. Okay. That's what we got. That's what we going with. Excuse me. Okay. We have number 3. 3 is about boundaries. Boundaries are sewn into the parts of who you are, for they are not to be crossed. Setting some healthy boundaries around here. I'm going to definitely read this card. And then we're just going to go from there, okay? The boundaries card is about self-respect. Self-love can be expressed in many different ways. Sometimes it needs to manifest in a spa day with girlfriends, getting up to exercise, or sleeping in later than usual, while at other times it manifests in a need to set and enforce boundaries so that no one person completely drains you of your energy. No one is allowed to even no one is allowed or even needs to take all of you. No one has the right to demand all of your time, energy, or resources, or any parts of who you are. It isn't selfish to want to keep some things for yourself, as doing so is a show of self respect and an understanding that you cannot give what you don't have. I'm going to pause there. Overextending yourself is a lack of self respect. And I'm going to just go in with speaking to females specifically, right? Because especially in this time, there's a lot of heavy concentration on us being nurturers and naturally being caring and giving and all the things, right? Not saying that men don't have it too, right? But let's just go with the sake of the scenario. Some things, like what I just named, can be taken for granted on top of people feeling entitled as if you are required to do these things as a prereq instead of allowing them to flourish and nourish when you have the capacity to. Um, a prime example to all my parents out there, right? When it comes to our children, as much as we may love our children or, whatever that may look like, or, nieces and nephews, whoever it is that is in their learning phases of how the world works and how things work and in full exploration, right? It can be very subtle and a lot of times how quick that maneuver from cherishment to entitlement and being able to allow yourself to listen within to know when it's simply time to do for self, and to not feel guilty for doing for yourself. And also understanding that when you're creating healthy boundaries, that this is a part of the journey that is not only healthy for you, but healthy for the people around you, to understand that you have to leave pieces of you for you at all times. And they also, with you having the courage of setting the example of the boundaries, it will encourage them to do the same. So I just wanted to leave that there. So let's get further into it. As doing so, sorry, it isn't selfish to want to keep some things for yourself. As doing so is a show of self-respect, and is understanding that you cannot give what you don't have. Imagine trying to give more of your time when you don't have enough in the day for what is already on your plate. Imagine spending more money when you already are in debt, and giving more of your energy and making someone else happy when you've been depressed for a long time. You have pulled boundaries because you are giving too much of yourself away without recharging your batteries. You are encouraged to say no more often, or at the very least, not right now. Know that this is for the good for everyone in your personal orbit, that you have so much more to give you once you are in a proper place of balance. Additionally, make sure to follow through with any boundaries you've set, as other people will push your limits to see how much you are willing to bend in their to their desires. Stay committed to yourself and stand your ground. Okay? Heavy on the stand your ground. And what I like about this card, and I'm going, let me zoom in on it that you hopefully you guys can see. It's a glare for me. But there we go. What I like about this card is how she has like this circle of like a aura force field around her, and even in the middle of it, it's her moving gracefully with the environment that is around her. So doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be harsh and cold and mean, and in your pursuit of saying no, or really setting these boundaries and letting people know I don't have the capacity. Okay? And if it does expose or enlighten certain things, not only within yourself, but the people around you, to most importantly accept what it is you're seeing. It's so crazy that this is coming out, because I believe just in another recent previous reading that I just did, it just basically came out. This boundaries card is coming out a lot lately, where especially now in this more heightened, intense time with even the things that are going on cosmically, or astro wise. How do I put this? Environments, period, right, are being tested. And within these environments or whatever, people are feeling more eager to test and try people to see where they exactly can almost make them tick, in a sense, or experimenting, if you will, experimenting with people's boundaries, specifically when we're talking about the card that came out, but they're experimenting on a lot of different things, in a lot of different sectors regarding just environment, whether if that's political or just, your local grocery store. There's a lot of changes that are being made, and with changes comes recalibration, right? Um, being mindful of your energy at this time, and realizing that you can very much well say no with a smile on your face. You're not saying no, or you're not setting these boundaries in place to have any ill will or intent towards anyone around you, but you're just taking more inventory of where you're at, and you're doing more for self, in a sense that if you don't make sure that you're okay, then nobody else is going to do it. And if you're already pouring from an empty cup, you you're giving what you already don't have. And that can be a I'm gonna just say it, that can be a certain level of insanity in itself that is not helpful, because where the mind goes, the body follows. So there's only going to be a matter of time where you're going to continuously try to uphold and give from a place that you don't even have to give, and eventually it could potentially affect your health. It could potentially affect um your physical health, your mental health, and being mindful of the signs, and not only just you looking for the signs within yourself, but looking for the signs within the people who are also around you that are in your close proximity, your environment, that you allow to be in your space. Because even if you aren't having the issue with boundaries, but if you're knowing somebody who does, um to adhere to that and be mindful that that's something that they could be potentially working through, or maybe even inspiring them, within reason in their own time, because you can't make nobody do anything. But for them to acknowledge that they don't have the capacity, or this environment that you may have yourself in is not the best for your mental or physical growth and where you're trying to go. And I'm going to expound and really express about environment, because even in this card, like, she's in a very calm, serene environment, and that can literally help you shift better when you have a calm place to clear your thoughts, um or even clear your energy, right? Okay. Let me see if there's any more that are going to come out. That was just really powerful. This card in itself coming out, I mean, it says a whole lot. Especially now, I feel like a lot of people are like more in a testy phase right now, where people are just like, oh, people are like really testing to see what it is that they can get away with, which is sad that people even want to do that. But it's like, yeah, no, stop doing that shit. Okay, so first card we have is the cow. Cow is number 5. 5 is all about change. It reads, may the embrace of all that is nurturing you awaken in all that you are becoming. Okay. Uh-oh. Got the glare. There we go. Boom. And then the next card we have is fertilizing with number 10. Food is not only the only thing that nourishes you, dear one. Be mindful of what you need to feed your soul. Okay. And then lastly, we have manifestation. Okay, this gonna be a mouthful, because we're gonna go through each one of these. Manifestation, which is 23, which also reduces down to 5, says sometimes they come as a breeze upon your fingertips, and in others times they dwell in the depths of your soul. It is a dance between you and the spirit as the magic unfolds. And wow, yeah, wow. Wow, indeed. Okay, so we're just gonna keep going. We're going to go in order. So we did boundaries. Now we're on to the cow card. The cow card is all about nurturing as well as fertilizing. So the cow card is really more about nurturing yourself, pouring back into yourself, which is basically what it was talking about with the boundaries card. And really bound what's I'm trying to say? What's the word? Nurturing yourself from a place of not being guilty for nurturing yourself. A lot of people who struggle with boundaries and creating and enforcing them were once people who are very selfless. And a little bit of a mental rewiring that they have to do to make themselves not feel guilty for doing for themselves, because it feels so weird to them to doing for self, and they do feel a sense of guilt or a sense of selfishness that, you know, in a sense, psych wise, can appear like they're almost punishing themselves, or they feel like they're going to be punished for putting themselves first and doing for themselves. And that's crazy. That's crazy. And on top of realizing that you need to nurture yourself, but even after you go through the nurturing, is to simply fertilize and understanding that things will grow in due time. And you definitely, the fact that the manifestation card came out after fertilizing and this cow card, which is all about nurturing, this literally is a step by step by step by step as to what you need to do, how you need to do it, why you're doing it, and the end result with the manifestation card. But we're, like I said, we're going to get into it. So now we're on to the cow. Cow represents all things related to a happy home, stability, nourishment, and the mother's archetype. A cow's size may seem overwhelming, but you cannot help but feel a sense of comfort when you come close by these gentle spirits. Like the love of a mother, you should seek out cow spirit when you're in need of a loving but tough push. Cow encourages you to do all you can build a strong foundation for your goals. Your situation requires you to return to the basics of nurturing and support before moving forward. Do you have the basic requirements for what you are seeking? If you are starting a business or buying a home, do you know what paperwork needs to be filed or what supplies you may need? If you are starting a new job, do you have all the skills needed to be considered qualified? The cow does not invite criticism, and neither should you. You are simply being guided to examine whether or not you have all that you need to feel comfortable and safe. Sometimes you have to return to the beginning to understand where you're going. Though be warned, if you continue to walk this path as you have been, in danger of building on a cracked foundation left unrepaired, you may find yourself in great trouble further down the road. So they're asking you not only to be mindful and to seek um a nurturing motherly presence. I know a lot of people, especially due to the pandemic, or that whole experience, um you may very much will have to be more nurturing and supportive within yourself. But not only that, doing the necessary research to make sure that this is all about not only just nurturing, but nurturing from a sense of tough love. Like, get your shit together and get all your ducks in a row, making sure, like, as you're cutting these people off places and things, and you're setting those hard, firm boundaries, that you're backing it up with replenishing yourself with new things that are best going to work towards the boundaries that you have put in place. So you set the boundaries, but not only on top of you setting the boundaries, now you're like, okay, I won't get overwhelmed, but I'm definitely going to make sure that I have like a support system, or even more of a motherly person, whether if that's someone who mentors and nurtures from a motherly standpoint, giving you that extra oomph to kind of help you make sure that you have solidified all the different ways and possibilities in order for you to not flourish on a rocky foundation, making sure that this time around that all the cracks are sealed and everything is going to flow, and you don't have to worry about backtracking. I feel like this has a lot to do with a new level of success that whoever I'm speaking to is trying to unlock. And in the process, not only are you cleaning, you're, doing a sweep or doing a cleaning up in a sense, or a clearing of things that simply aren't working for where you're trying to go, but you're also bringing in newness, or you are embracing allowing yourself to go through certain phases of your situation and returning back to the basics of like making sure that you have everything that you need to ensure that you are going to be successful this time. Say maybe, because I feel like whoever I'm speaking to, this wasn't their first time trying some things out, but maybe they didn't fall through, or you didn't have enough information in order to ensure that you were going to not have any hiccups that you couldn't um come back from, in a sense. So it's almost like just learning from your past mistakes. And it's like this time around, it's like I know, there's some things that I need to recalibrate and get rid of and change. And in the process of making these new changes, I need to also make sure that I'm on my P's and Q's, and making sure that I have all my ducks in a row, or making sure that I have all my resources and things that are going to ensure that I reach the level of greatness in my journey that I'm potentially working towards, right? So now let's get into the fertilizer card. How can you fertilize the nurturing as well as, from setting these boundaries? Let's let's see what's going on with that. Sorry. Fertilizer card is about mastery. It says when fertilizing appears in your reading, it shows that you are mastering your craft through diligence and consistency. You are a hard worker and you have invested in your goal with single-minded focus. However, it is time to expand your efforts. As the plant grows, so does the hunger for the fertilizer. So more effort is needed as your success grows and your goals expand. Now may be a good time to further invest in your development. Taking a class, finding a mentor, or even engaging in research will help you advance your skills. This card is one of mastery, and you are well on your way to becoming an expert in your field. If you pulled this card, it is particularly encouraging a sign that it means you are on the right path and you have the right mindset to match. So I'm gonna definitely take a pause there. Whoever I'm speaking to, you are not playing with people no more. Okay, you are done playing. Whatever happened, or whatever situations and circumstances that you are going through, it's almost like a light bulb just really went like ding one day, and it just really hit you, and you were like, you know what, I even if you had to do which we usually all have to, you had to sit with yourself for a certain period of time and really ask yourself some tough questions and go within and do some self-reflecting work, right? And once you started doing more of the internal work and you've been working on yourself, now you're realizing you're going the next step further, and you're looking at your environment and you're looking at the people who are surrounding you, and you're realizing, hey, I may have not been setting the best boundaries to help me with reaching my goals and where I'm trying to go in the future, right? And also understanding that in every last one of these cards is about moving from a place of strength, from a place of confidence, and being okay with standing firm, because this cow is no different from almost looking like a bull, very strong, I'm sorry, and very willpowered. It's like I didn't come here to play, okay? I didn't come here to play with y'all. um so there's that, and really understanding that there are so many different ways to fertilize yourself, and realizing that you you need help, but making sure that you have people around you. This is all about being resourceful, even as you can see with all the tools and stuff in the background. Like, okay, now that I have placed certain boundaries and expounded upon that, now I'm taking inventory and making sure that I am reaching out and getting any type of uh information that I need to ensure success this time around, right? And with that, making sure that I am doing the necessary steps to reach out to said people, places, and things that are going to help me ensure this nurturing. I'm fertilizing the nurturing, so that I can ultimately get to, which is the next card, this manifestation. And I love this for y'all. I had to scream for a second. Okay. Cause what that is just, I mean, what, okay, huh? Bear with me, y'all. I'm so ecstatic. I'm so excited because whoever I'm speaking to, like, you know how sometimes you might look at those movies and, you know what? Boom. I'll put a pin in that. You know how we'll see a lot of these different movies. It don't matter what the genre is, right? But there's always that run-on theme of like somebody being kind of like an underdog, and the underdog end up being like overlooked, or now they're starting to um do more for self, making better connections, and they're basically, and excuse my French, they're grabbing life by the balls, right? And they're like really taking more of a demanding approach. Like, I'm going to get everything that I deserve and I asked for. I done came this far, and I continue, and I plan on completion and get into what it is that, I didn't come this far to only come this far, basically. That's that in a nutshell. So let's read manifestation, right? Okay, it is about alignment. Manifestation is happening all of the time, whether you know it or not. Every word, thought, feeling, and action is in alignment with the energy of the future manifestation. This may seem ominous, excuse me, for surely no one can control every passing thought, but with practice you can shift your general perspective so that your words, thoughts, feelings, and actions are in alignment with your goals. It is a subtle shift at first, such as choosing to smile instead of frowning, or supporting the success of others rather than spreading gossip. With time, you will begin to unconsciously choose the behavior that supports your dreams. This is where the manifestation is happening, in the moment between spells and ceremonies. And it is in these in between moments that you remind the universe of your commitment to your intentions. Manifestation has entered your spread because you have not followed through on your commitment to your goals. Uh oh. Which could be indicated by choosing anger when you have set an intention for kindness, or dwelling in a feeling of lack when you desire abundance. That don't make sense. You have attracted more of what you do not desire simply because that is where you have placed your focus. Manifestation is here to encourage you to examine how you can be more in alignment with what you seek. If you are seeking love, then it is love you must send out into the world. And I'm going to take a pause and put a pin in that, because even in times of frustration and certain places, people and things may try to put you on trial, in a sense, or they may try to, like I said, test your limits and boundaries, right? So it's definitely a lot of testing going on. Um, and with that could come a slight little bit of entitlement on both sides, right? Because you may have, depending on what the scenario is, you may have developed a certain bias that it's like, why did you do that? But most importantly, always remembering at any given time, what you give out is what you receive back. Um, it helps you be a lot more mindful, even in situations where you may be a little bit, um, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm always looking for a word, y'all. Um, but you may also under, understand it more about how mindful you need to be, and being mindful on a continuous basis. It's one thing for, and a lot of times, or whatever, let's just be honest, those, certain mindsets of speaking out of scarcity or lack, a lot of times can tend to be a lot more easier to do than, rewiring your brain to speak more positive and speaking more positive to yourself first and foremost, but the people around you, and really understanding that, hey, I'm not setting these boundaries to be mean. I'm setting these boundaries because I'm understanding myself more, and I understand what it is that I need. And I also understand how to nurture myself more, and what fertilizer or resources and tools that I need in order to get all of these in alignment, in order to get back on track with the manifestations that I ultimately asked for. And the fact that it's saying, hey, you kind of fell off track a little bit and you haven't been staying true to what it is that you were asking for. You have to make sure what you ask out of spirit, God, or your your spirit people. You have to make sure that what you're asking, far as what you're requiring or acquiring out of them, that you're willing to put in said work to meet them halfway. You know, they're, your spirit source, ancestors or whatnot. It's it's energy. It's the constant flow of energy, and allowing the whole entire experience to flow. So you can't ask for things and then you just sitting around waiting, but you haven't put forth no action in order to kind of help nudge along the process. For instance, you can sit up here and manifest and ask for everything all you want all day long. But if you're not doing the necessary nurturing into yourself and trying to do the best you can with finding certain resources to help you fertilize your goals, as well as saying no to things that just aren't conducive for the alignment ultimately that you're trying to get to across all these, across it all, right? You're doing yourself a disservice. And so you have to really be honest with yourself first and foremost, because this came out the way it came out. Be honest with yourself about even having the capacity for what the things that you are asking for. You are very much more capable and strong enough to acquire and obtain the things that you want. But you also understand there are certain sacrifices or certain things that you may have to put a boundary to, or sacrifice completely, understanding that if you hold on to certain things that aren't working in your favor and you thinking that it's not that big of a deal, it'll be that big of a deal when you look up one day and realize you could potentially be a lot further along had you it took certain parts of your journey a little bit more serious. Now, everybody's journey is different and everybody's timing is different. So that's not to negate or degrade the next person just because one may caught on a little bit faster than the other one. They're all valid at the end of the day. But we do have to be more mindful in making sure that, you know, we also understand energetically that there is going to be something required of us in order for the entire journey to be reciprocal. Okay? It can't just be a one-way street. So I just wanted to put that out there. Let me keep going. It says manifestation is here to encourage you to examine how you can be more in alignment with what you seek. If you are seeking love, then it is love you must send out into the world. If you are seeking wealth, you must focus on areas of your life in which you are already feel a sense of abundance. And if it is success you are after, then focus on your previous accomplishments. As you seek the truth, as you seek the truth and path of positive expression, you will begin to flow into a dance of manifestation, allowing magic to slowly unfold. And I'm gonna just close out with this. Don't I can't tell y'all what to do, right? But asking for stuff and not allowing yourself to fully understand what it takes, okay? And really being honest with yourself, if certain sacrifices and certain things that you may have to do, you may not simply want to do, it's good to recalibrate. And that's okay. However you choose to see fit, right? But Don't ask for things that you are not feeling compelled or feeling like it is required of you to put in a certain amount of effort and work. I think the saying, and I may even title it this, where they say faith without works is dead. I think that's how the saying goes. Don't quote me for sure. I apologize if I did mess it up, but that is basically what's going on here. Because you very much will, especially after you've solidified all these different things, right? You're doing the nurturing and you're seeking wise counsel or resources that are going to be helpful to your goals and making sure that you're not missing any necessary steps that are going to have you build on a rocky foundation. You're really making sure and taking your time to dot your I's and cross your T's, if you will. And being able to do all these things from a loving space, give out what it is that you want to receive, understanding that what you put out is what you can potentially get back. Okay. So definitely want to be mindful of that. So let's go ahead and just see what else. Okay. It says, sweet, That's cute. That purple is literally almost like my backdrop. Okay. It says, have a meditation staycation. And I think that would be really helpful. Pouring into yourself right now, especially after you acquired certain boundaries and really, this nurturing thing has been the growing theme here. But I don't want to not stress the acknowledgement about how this was the first card that came out. This is literally step one, okay? Setting those boundaries. And also understanding that the people around you, places and things or whatever, are going to test you on the boundaries that you have set. You are going to get tested to ensure that you really want the manifestations that you want, and you're standing firm in your conviction that, hey, I'm, I'm serious about this. So even if it's something as personal to you, you're trying to lose weight. Okay, that's just the example here for the cards. You're trying to lose weight, so you set certain boundaries for yourself. No food after such and such time. Um, no more sweets. No more carbs. Whatever comes with whatever nutritional health values that you tend to make for yourself while you're going on this journey, right? And then nurturing that with the cow card as step two. So in nurturing that, it's like you also understand in this process that you may go through certain sugar cravings, or you may go through certain withdrawals in a sense, as far as even with shrinking your stomach, and understanding that you may tend to be hungry and slightly agitated at times, right? And really understanding what are the different ways that you can, reaching out to different, with the fertilizing card, you reach out to different resources and stuff as to how you can combat those different feelings and stuff. Whether if it's, okay, well, when I'm agitated, but I know I don't need to eat right now because I'm trying to process the overeating that my body used to once be used to me doing. So I may journal now, or I may, in those times or whatever, if depending on your environment or your situation or whatever, I'm gonna go for a jog or I'll go for a walk to kind of help combat that extra energy that I would have exerted into eating. I'm just going to put more exercise onto my plate. Um, and then really just allowing that, long as you're putting in the said work or whatever, that you'll be able to manifest. Okay, I mean that's pretty much that in a nutshell. Congratulations to whoever it is that I'm speaking to, because I really feel like you are unlocking a different version of you, and a different level that is so profound that you're showing up for you with perfect attendance in different ways that you may not have always done once before. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful to see. So that is what I have for you guys. Thank you guys so much again for all the likes, comments, shares, subscriptions. If you do like to book a personal reading, my website is either in the description or it is also on the actual page in the information. So in the meantime, in between time, you guys take care, take care of yourself. Definitely, do some meditation, meditate, go within, and really sit with yourself about the things that you want to manifest, and then doing the necessary work in order to receive the manifestations that you want, because you got to put in the work. So in the meantime, in between time, y'all take care.